Beginning of 20th century is marked with lot of different landmark discoveries in biology. These different discoveries in biology, they come in various different fields like virology. Viruses were discovered at the beginning of 20th century. Lot many discoveries took place at the beginning of 20th century. If we look at the physics, then the era of quantum physics, the idea of photons or light in the form of discrete packets called quanta or photons, that began at the beginning of 20th century. And scientists started to explore what is the idea of time. How do we understand the concept of time? Is there some phase in which time completely disappears? It can be bent, it can be warped. So, is time consistently the same for almost everyone, or that is also a concept that comes in the confines of relativity? Then at the end of 20th century, almost in the beginning of 21st century, at the borderline of 20th and 21st century, there came beautiful books like Brief History of Time, and lot of scientists, they tried to understand this new idea, changing idea of understanding the time. So, is there some place, is there some situation in which time completely disappears? If you look at the Indian scriptures, then in the prayers of the God, it is said that Tvam sthalatrayatitaha, Tvam kalatrayatitaha. You are beyond space and time. So does there exist any situation in which the time completely disappears? How do we understand that in scientific perspective? Specifically speaking about biology, how does the concept of time that affects the different ideas of biology? If you look at the chronicles in the tree trunk, what we call as the annual rings, there is a separate science known as dendrochronology. If you look at zoology, then there are different gestation periods. They have specific time. There is a specific time assigned for blooming of flowers also, what we call as photoperiodism. And if we go to the molecular scale, then enzymes, they show their activity in millionth of a second or almost thousandth of a second. That time scale can be understood. Question is, this time is manipulated by presence of these molecules, proteins, what we call as enzymes. Enzymes are largely proteins. Broadly, most of the enzymes are proteins, but even RNA molecule also works as an enzyme, what we call as a ribozyme. So, how does this idea of time come there? A reaction that would have taken place almost in a span of decades that takes place in a fraction of a second. So how does the idea of time that comes here, how does the process of hibernation take place? If you look at the bears, then they hibernate in the winter. Lot of animals, they cease their metabolic activities and become almost inactive in this phase what we call as hibernation. In fact, the computer science has taken this word hibernation of a computer, that computer, it stops its activities for a while. So that concept of hibernation, that comes directly from this biology, this concept in biology. How the germination of seed that takes place in specific period, there are prolonged period of dormancy or seeds remain viable for long period. Take example of Nelambo, lotus. The seeds of lotus, they show a prolonged longevity. They remain viable for a longer period of time. In fact, scientists found in the excavations they did in China, they found the lotus seed, those remained dormant for more than 1,000 years. So, how does time affect all these things in various different ideas of biology, concepts of biology? Take example of cascade of chemical reactions taking place in the metabolic pathways, various different metabolic pathways, and the alternate possibilities of that. So, how does time affect this series of biochemical reactions, what we call as metabolic pathways? So that we are going to understand in this series, but remaining in the confines of NEET syllabus. I'm going to explain you different concepts in the syllabus of CBSE Biology 11th and 12th class, and those concepts we are going to correlate with this idea of time in biology. So, hope you enjoy this series, and we are going to start next week. Thank you. This is Lakshmi Raman Oza from Samartha Biology Tutorials, Latur.